Welcome to episode 2 of Destination Duna with ThreeMartiniLaunch, where I am satisfying a challenge from Sturmsteiger on the KSP forums to establish a permanent population on the planet Duna. Let's, if you recall from last game, let me get in there. I launched up a couple of space station cores. We'll take a look at them. I went ahead and renamed them. We've got Gia, and very original, I suppose, in orbit around Kerbin. And of course, it's nighttime. Nice looking station nonetheless. Looking at it's just a space station core. And then Gia's sister, Celine, in orbit around the moon. Again, it's the same design. Oh yeah, that's right. I've got the pusher that was left pushed in orbit with a ton of fuel left, so I got all kinds of options for that one to do. So let's get into the VAB, and I'll show you what I'm going to be launching today. So open it up here. Ethane Recon. Yeah, in any second, there we go. Let's bring out MechJab and get some stats out here. Disconnect the lifter. You see I'm above the 25 tons just a touch. I won't be going into low Kerbin orbit. This one's going straight to the moon. And what I've got on here is up at the front, I've got two orbital kethane detectors. You know, each one has two detectors on there. One of them's going to go to the moon, one's going to go to Ike. And then attached in front of each of these fuel tanks is a tiny landing probe, so I can scan out the areas where kethane's been found, make sure I can find a nice good level area to set up a mining operation. So that's really about it. My good old Pony 25 ton lifter on there, and that's it. So I'll go ahead and see you on the launch pad. Alright, here I am on the launch pad. I'm setting up a Kerbal alarm clock. If you recall, I'm limited to one launch every 50 days because of the size of my lifter. My first launch was on day 10. That means I gotta go to day 60 for the next launch. So I'm using a Kerbal alarm clock. It'll stop me exactly at day 60. Which is nice. If I were doing it myself, I'd probably overshoot, or I wouldn't land exactly on day 60, so letting Kerbal do it. And then I'm going to be doing a launch straight into lunar injection, what have you. So I'm lining up the moon there. I've only done it a couple of times, so I think that's about the right place. Here, going to launch, turn off the RCS, the fuel tank on the pusher. We get a nice view of the undercarriage there of the lifter. You can see the cluster of rockets I'm using. I wouldn't mind if it had just a touch more thrust to weight ratio, but I'm overall very pleased with the performance. The lifter itself flies straight, don't shimmy in or spin in or out of control or nothing. Even with this payload on it, which looks pretty top heavy, it does a fine job. It's rock solid, so I'm very pleased with it. All right, got up to past 10,000 meters doing my gravity turn. I'm using RCS for that. I could use just regular, but the gimbaling and the torque of the probe core just isn't quite enough to do that in a timely fashion. So I prefer to just use the RCS for that. And if I had a manned capsule on there, there'd be plenty of torque. I wouldn't need the RCS. Waiting a little bit later than normal to turn beyond that first 45 degrees. I want to get a little altitude there before I just start my burn to the moon. And I'm setting up a maneuver node for that. If I recall, I went ahead and went around and did this over 2 sections. I think it would have taken me about 4 minutes to do it all at once. So I'm doing 2 minutes. That'll give me a safe periapsis. Come around and do the second 2 minutes. You see the moon on the horizon there, just above it. And it's looking pretty good. So I think, yeah, that's the this. I still think I'm on the first lap. I think I'll be setting up the second one in just a second. Yeah, the periapsis is high enough. So I'll be setting up any second now. There we go. Set up. Oh, I'm still burning. No, that's right. No, the periapsis isn't high enough. It's not 70,000 yet. I'm going to go up to 75, just to make sure I'm out of the danger zone, and then set up a, stop the burn, and then set up a maneuver node for my second burn. And this one, you'll note up in the upper right, this is why I really like that maneuver node improvement. You can see there where it says, my encounter is going to be. Let's move that over a little bit. Try it again. There we go. I think it's been much closer, 300 and some odd thousand. And we have 1/10 of a percent off, or 1/10 of a degree off on the inclination. I'll fix that. a little bit later. I've got a 2-minute burn here. And again, I think the first one was 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes for the second. I could have done it all in 4 minutes, but I'm not sure if the encounter would have worked out the same or whatever. Anyways, I did 2 and 2. And here's where I wish I could speed up the acceleration. I'm at 4 times acceleration right now, and it's still kind of slow. I'm using Sony Video Studio 12. I've got the trial version, and it only lets me go up to 4 times acceleration. I don't know if that's a limitation of the package itself or just because I have the trial, but I wouldn't mind doing 6 for periods like this. Anyways, you can see there it shows my actual path. What I did here is press tab a couple of times. Tab changes focus from your ship to Kerbin to the moon, then Minmus and Moho, and then on out the planets and moons. Really handy with the maneuver node improvement. You can see I'm pulling that my actual path down. That's the solid orange one. I think I'm going to pull it right down to the 100,000. I'm still basically in Kerbin orbit. Setting up an encounter of this, this detail. Pull it down to 102,000 meters there, and I'll go ahead and time warp up to the ascending node or descending. Ooh, now pass it up, but it didn't pass it up by too far. I was able to get the adjustment, and I managed to time warp through my sphere of influence change. I prefer not to do that. If it's 5 or 10 times, it's probably okay, but there's some kind of floating point rounding or something that could put you off. I've seen it off thousands of meters before, but this one it wasn't too bad. It wasn't much off at all. I think I'd been pressing down. It got down to 5 or 10 acts before it went off. Anyways, I'm bringing the orbit down, or establishing orbit, and then I'll circularize. And there we go. And I'm not worried about perfect circular here. I've just got the Kethane detector and the surface scouts. Most folks with the Kethane detector will set up a polar orbit, and they'll try to cover the whole planet. I'm not interested in putting a Kethane mining operation at very high or low latitudes. I'm just going to be scanning right around the horizon, the equator. I don't mind going a little bit off the equator, but I'm not going to go 30 degrees north latitude or something like that. That's just too much of a pain. Warp around to the day side of the moon to do the drop it off. I've seen so many videos where the important maneuvers take place on the night side and you can't see anything. I went ahead and warped around to the day side. I also like to bring up those delta V stats and watch my delta V go up as I'm injecting those. See, I've got more than 5,000 meters per second. Go ahead and check on each one, make sure everything's okay, and start the scanning on that orbital Kethane detector. Haven't found any Kethane yet, but she's looking. And let's see, go back to the main ship here. And I just pointed radially just so any maneuvers wouldn't run into those guys. And I'm going to set a ejection for Duna right from lunar orbit. Never done that before, but it worked out pretty well. The trip to Duna, I think, is going to take me 84 days. That has to do with my ejection time. Most folks will tell you 59 or 55 to 59 days is going to give you the ideal window, depending on who you ask in one of those days. I had to go day 60 because of the launch, so it's not ideal. It winds up taking me a little bit longer. That's part of it because of not the ideal ejection window. Also, I think I overshoot just a little bit. Yeah, so I get when orbit goes bigger and then comes back down. Since it takes that long, my next launch is in 50 days, so this one's not going to be arriving at Duna until after my other launch. So we're not going to see the entire journey here, but we'll get to that in the next episode, or maybe the one after that. Depending on how things go. Let's see. Here I am. Setting up that encounter. You notice I stopped a little bit short of the encounter. I like stopping short of the encounter and interplanetary burns. I'll get this up there real close, and then I'll do the rest of it either without a maneuver node, or I'll set up a new maneuver node to do it. I don't do it on the first one, especially if it's going to be a 5-minute burn or what have you. I forgot what this one was, but I'm sure it was a couple of minutes at least. And that puts me in the neighborhood there. And getting rid of the old maneuver node. Yeah, I'm going to set up a new maneuver node. And I try to do it all from Duna perspective. Pressing tab 7 times, by the way, will set Duna as the focus. And I don't have that good of a view when I'm when I'm not being able to do it. So I'll be pressing backspace. It takes you back to your ship. And I'm sure I'll be working on it from there. I also ran into a interesting issue. I've seen it a couple of times before. I've got the encounter set up, but for whatever reason, the conic set to 0 doesn't show it to me around Duna. I'm not sure what causes it. I think maybe if I'm going to smash straight into it, that'll do it. In any event, I'll wind up fixing that in around somewhere. We've also got the issue of the lifter stage that lifted me up. I want to show you that's not going to be trash, so we'll be going to that in just a second. All right, as soon as I switched to the that last piece of the lifter from the tracking station, it was already in Kerbin's atmosphere. I think I started recording a little bit too late. You missed the flame effects, but you see it basically deorbited itself, and still no trash in Kerbin orbit. So that's it for me for now. So see you guys next time. This is 3Martini Launch.